Maybe you had a rival growing up, someone that you were competitive with or hurt you, betrayed you, and you held a grudge. What's it like when you see that person after many years have gone by? Maybe it's a wedding or a funeral in the old neighborhood. Does the anger start to creep up? Do you avoid them altogether? Or maybe do you get a little salty? Well, Acts 15 is fixing for a throwdown between a couple of different sides on some major church issues, and we're going to see how they act after they haven't seen each other for a while. I certainly hope it's good news. Acts 15, 1 through 4. Certain people came down from Judea to Antioch and were teaching the believers, unless you're circumcised according to the custom taught by Moses, you cannot be saved. This brought Paul and Barnabas into sharp dispute and debate with them. So Paul and Barnabas were appointed, along with some other believers, to go up to Jerusalem to see the apostles and elders about this question. The church sent them on their way, and as they traveled through Phoenicia and Samaria, they told how the Gentiles had been converted. This news made all the believers very glad. When they came to Jerusalem, they were welcomed by the church and the apostles and elders, to whom they reported everything God had done through them. Chapter 15 is the center point in the book of Acts. Essentially, we've got Peter and the Jews, and then Paul and the Gentiles. At this pivot point, the real question is how? How is the sect of Judaism following Rabbi Jesus going to be completely inclusive of pork-eating, uncircumcised Gentiles? Jerusalem was still the mother church, so the conference is going to convene there. And it looks like Peter represents the apostles, James represents the elders, and Paul, Barnabas, and Titus travel for a month over 250 miles to represent the Antiochian perspective. How were these travelers received when they got to Jerusalem? Was it like a prize fight, press conference where they squared up and talked trash to each other? Was it an intense political debate where the opponents barely shake hands before rhetorically destroying each other? Not at all. You can see it in verse 4 where it says they were warmly welcomed and they had a joyful session of good news sharing. Yes, things are going to heat up a little later, but what's so cool about our Christian ancestors is that they were spiritual. It's convicting. Can I say the same thing about myself? Putting aside differences to treat someone with respect, even if I've been hurt by them or we disagree. The lesson is clear. We're called to a spiritual maturity that will define our Christianity, one that has the discipline to rise above differences of opinion with the love of Jesus, regardless of gender, race, politics, etc. I'm reminded of the great verse in Colossians 4, verse 6. Let your conversation always be full of grace, seasoned with salt, protein, the meat and potatoes, the substance of our connections, our grace. You want to add a little salt and pepper? Go right ahead. But we would never be able to survive if the seasoning was the main course.